Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Let's get into part 2 of this series on earning a Filipina's respect. I married my Filipina wife in less than 8 weeks, so we're still getting to know each other for a couple of years, and yet we were still married. So one of the things I knew right away was I wanted to get along well. I wanted her to earn my respect. I wanted to be a good husband. So here are just some more additional things that I use to help earn my wife's respect. And one is to be a spiritual leader. And so I talked about these roles of husband and wife before we got married. And as soon as she got here, of course, then we really have to start carrying them out. The husband's role, he is the protector, he is the provider, and the wife is the helper of the man. We did talk about submission, because the Bible says, not me, the Bible says, I could think of 5 or 6 places right now that talk about being that the husband is the head of the wife and she is to submit to him. And you can't have any kind of harmony or relationship if everybody's going their own way. You have to have, some sort of order. So that doesn't mean that the husband makes all the decisions. No way, because if he does that, he's going to make some bad ones. He needs his wife, and her perspective, since she is different, and a woman tends to have better intuition than a man, and a man would be wise to listen to her husband, so that's something he needs to do, but he is the one that she is to submit to, and you can talk about that, and it's not going to be easy. Some women are better at that. Others, they find it very, very difficult to submit to their husbands, even if he's treating her well. All you can do is pray for her and try to treat her as well. And a lot of the things in the videos I have will help you to be a husband that she would find it easier to submit to. But that's something that we talk about before we got married, and I'll talk about it again later. But another thing is you can read the Bible to her, you can pray with her. I need to do a better job of just reading some quick little verses to her and then talking. And we can do it at night, or we can do it after supper. A friend of mine sends some Bible verses on text that we could go over, and I've been around a lot longer. I can explain those verses to her, and that's a good thing. Read the Bible to her, pray with her, pray for her family with her. So when you're asking about her family, one of the reasons is so you can be praying for them and praying with your wife about her family, for their salvation, their needs, anything like that. That will earn her respect. So, and my wife has a big family, so there's a lot going on. So it makes it fun to keep track of and easier to pray for her. Go to church even when she can't be with you. My wife's work schedule, it's not her choice. Every other Saturday and Sunday, they're working 12 hours a Saturday and 12 hours a Sunday. That's the way a lot of companies are going these days. And so I have to go without her, and once in a while she might not, feel up to going, and if I do go, and she does want me to, that's a good thing, because I need to go and learn what's going on. I can talk to her about the sermon, and I prefer that she goes with me like we will tonight. I think she's working today, but it's overtime, so she didn't have to work. So we'll be able to go to church tonight, and that's always better. But go to church with her, even if she can't go with you. It just shows her that you want to lead spiritually. Be open to her wanting to attend a different church. I gave my wife that option, since the church she was at in the Philippines, I think my ears are still ringing from the time we were there 3 years ago. I'm just kidding, but it was more of a what do you call it? Not traditional, but whatever the opposite of that is. A church service, a little more new, or I don't know, up tempo. I'm struggling with the right word. Ours is more traditional. It tends to be older, and it's quite a bit different. She likes our pastor. She knew him before she even got here because they talked on Skype. So I gave her the option because she does know a church with a couple of Filipino American couples, and so but she decided she would stay with me because she knows the people at our church. They actually threw her a welcome shower when she got here, and she got like 45 gifts, and it's a small church, so they really welcomed her, and so she wants to stay with me. But I gave her that option. Also, don't feel embarrassed if you're married to a younger woman from the Philippines. I mean, this could come out in different ways, I suppose, but don't let her think that, you know, you did something wrong, or you're embarrassed to marry her, or that you only married her because she was younger. She wants you to be her husband, and that's all. So just throwing that out there. I don't act any differently around her than I would if she was 56, you know, my age. She's my wife. That's all it is, and I treat her like that. The age difference to me hasn't had any impact, and to her it hasn't mattered either. So I just felt like saying that. Don't be embarrassed around her that you're married to, you know, a younger Filipina. Encourage her to get to know other women at church. Titus 2 talks about older women teaching the younger women, so that would be an opportunity for her to get some spiritual help for some mature women. And she might be kind of shy, like most Filipinas are, so I encourage her to meet with different people at church. I prayed about it, and thankfully that has happened, and she has a couple of good relationships there. Encourage her to make friends outside of church as well. And since we work at the same place, we pretty much know the same people, and I don't know of anybody that she would hang around with that would be a bad influence. Of course, I would step in if that was the case. But, you know, my wife's a quality person, and she can influence other women in a good way too, you know, when she gets to know them. You might attend the marriage conference. That's something we did shortly after she arrived here in this country. So that was a good thing. And also, since you are her spiritual head, you're in a position of influencing in her life, which means basically you influence by sacrificing for her, by being unselfish, by forgiving, by helping her to grow, leading her to be more Christ-like, showing her by your actions, the actions that you want her to have, you know, leading by example. So think about being her spiritual head, and that you want to influence her the right way. And when you do that, you know, you'll earn her respect. Now, part of being the spiritual head is making the tough decisions. I don't believe it means making every decision, because I don't want to do that, because my wife can help me make better decisions. But I did tell her that I will try to defer to her as much as possible in everything. But if we just cannot come to agreement on something, then I'm the tiebreaker, and she has to know that, at which point I will say how we're going to do it. And one of the ways was, maybe even before we got married, was who to handle the visa process. Me, her, Christian Filipina had visa services help, and I wanted to do that because, yeah, you had to pay for it, but I thought we could get it done faster, and I didn't want to be arguing with her. You know, did you do your part? You know, why did you do it wrong? Or did I do my part right? You know, how come you haven't completed it yet? Or whatever. You know, a lot of things could go wrong. I wanted to spend my time getting to know her, not arguing about the visa process. So, you know, this went on for a few weeks, and finally I just had to put my foot down and say, you know, we're doing it my way, and that's that. And I don't want to have to do that very often, but there are times when I'm going to have to. Vacations, where we go on vacations, I let her decide that. You know, there are some places I'd like to see, but, you know, it's easier just to say, hon, wherever you want to go, I'll go with you, we'll enjoy it together, and that's fine. I really don't want to, you know, dominate that. Having children, I wasn't really wanting to have children at this point in my life, but, you know, for her sake we tried, because I told her, whenever possible, I'm going to try to defer to you. And well, we can't do that, but I tried, and she knows that I tried, and don't have anything on my conscience for that. It was a hard decision, but I always want what's best for my wife, and unfortunately that one did not work out for us. But yeah, try to defer to her, but you are the tiebreaker. Treat her as a queen. A lot of people say, don't treat her like a queen. Well, why not treat her like a queen? She makes me feel like a king, so I'm going to treat her like a queen. So another way, put her needs and wants above your own. This is just Christ-like love for your wife, and it will earn her respect for you. Also these are just sometimes unrelated things. Try to eat some Filipino foods if she wants to cook them for you. Don't just feel like that's beneath you or it's something you've never done before. Try to do those things. Learn to eat some of her food, learn maybe some of the language. I've done that. I can't put together sentences really, but I can learn certain words, and it's kind of fun to talk to them, and also to the young nieces and nephews that she has. And the last thing here, find common interests or develop them. Find common interests or develop them. My wife wanted to travel, and I never wanted to travel before. So, wanting to defer to her, we've done some traveling. And you know what? I've enjoyed all of it. We've gone to Paris because I asked her, not her asking me, I asked her, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be? And she said, Paris. And a couple weeks later, I thought, you know what? Maybe we should do that. So I asked her if she really wanted to. And, oh, no, it's too expensive. We can't do that. And I said, but, I want to make your dreams come true. Let's share that together. So we did go. It was awesome. And I think we're going to go back again someday. Not quite as long because it is kind of expensive. But that was something I never could have experienced without her. We've gone to different places, and we'll continue to travel. We're going back to the Philippines at the time of this taping here in about 10 weeks. Also, she likes plays, like stage plays. And so we went and saw The Little Mermaid. I think we saw Cinderella, or did we watch it on TV? I can't remember. But we've seen some plays, and I never really wanted to do that. But I went with her because she likes that. And I came away very, very impressed with the production of the whole thing, the timing, the skill, the singing. Everything was first rate, and quite frankly, I can go see some more with her because there's a lot of talent out there, a big-time talent, and I had never experienced that before. But that's something that I said I would do with her. I could have said, no, that's not for me. No, I said, sure, why not? And I believe that helped earn her respect. Now, she's gone to some basketball games with me. College, she went to a football game with me. She didn't like that there was 90,000 people there and it was hot, and that she didn't know anything about football. But I'm trying to teach her a little bit about football. So there's a little give and take there. But basically, you may not have a lot of common interests when you get married, but so what? You can develop them. You're starting all over with a new life with a Filipina, so you can try to develop new interests. So there's a lot more practical ways that you can do in everyday life to earn the respect of your Filipina. So we'll take a look at that next in part 3 on Love Beyond the Sea.